And coming up next on Newscenter 8, a Cleveland judge throws the book at a serial rapist who terrorized his victims as Jason, the knife-wielding slasher from the horror film.
More Peeping Tom horror stories from former Horns department store security people, whose unsuspecting victims included everyone from businessmen disrobing to Catholic nuns.
And we'll be going live to Kirtland, where help has arrived for all those traumatized by the shock of the cult killings.
In sports, a big award for Michael Dean Perry, and we'll go live to Denver and talk to John Elway.
Gusty winds will bring in much colder air tonight and tomorrow. Snow will fly. We'll see some squalls east of the city.
Those stories and much more next on Newscenter 8.
A new plot twist in the Kennedy assassination tonight at 7:30.
Now, Tim Taylor, Robin Swoboda, Casey Coleman on sports, and Dick Goddard with weather. This is Newscenter 8.
Good evening, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. Here's what's happening. No sentence could possibly be severe enough. Those tough words today from the judge who sentenced Johnny Knight to more than 200 years in prison. Knight was convicted as the serial rapist who brutally raped 3 women and sent a chilling wave of fear through Cleveland's west side in 1988. Newscenter 8's Belinda Prince says Knight was sentenced this afternoon after the jury returned its verdict.
After more than 14 hours of deliberation, the jury found 19-year-old Johnny Knight of Berea guilty on 23 of 26 counts. The crimes included rape, kidnapping, aggravated robbery, and aggravated burglary. The victims tearfully took the stand during his trial, reliving his savage attacks. A 70-year-old woman was beaten and robbed. 3 others were raped repeatedly. All of them lived in the West 130th Bel Air Road area when it happened back in 1988. The evidence included this mask of Jason, a character in horror movies. For 1.5 hours, Knight wore it, according to one victim, while he raped her, threatening to slash her children to death with his knife.
One reason I have for feeling that you must spend a long, long time behind bars.
For all of this, Common Pleas Judge Stuart Friedman ordered consecutive sentences on all counts, 224 years to 545 years in prison. The victims, he said, went beyond those listed in the trial.
Those victims consisted as well of the citizens of this city. In that sense, you destroyed the safety and security of thousands of people who went to bed at night not sure if there wasn't somebody lurking about to break in and make them victims as well.
Bickering with defense lawyers throughout the trial, Knight told the judge he plans to appeal. Despite the harsh sentence, Johnny Knight may not have to serve 200 years in prison, let alone 20. The way the law is worded, he's eligible for parole in 15. But prosecutors say they won't forget. They'll be at his parole hearings to argue against his release, hoping he never walks a free man again. Belinda Prince, Newscenter 8, Cleveland.
And just minutes ago, we talked to one of Knight's victims. He called it a blessed day since justice was done, and she plans to appear at every parole hearing to ensure that Knight stays behind bars.
More horror stories today from former Horns security guards who say they were told to spy on unsuspecting customers. As the I-Team's Carl Monday reported yesterday, Horns may have violated the civil rights of its customers by using Peeping Tom tactics in the dressing rooms.
Naked men, naked women, naked kids, naked everybody.
She means everything. This former Horns security guard says she spied on hundreds of innocent Horns customers in pursuit of shoplifters, watching customers disrobe in the fitting rooms, from businessmen to even a Catholic nun.
After a while, the things you do, it left such a bad taste in your mouth that you begin to feel dirty yourself.
The guard says she quit Horns because she was fed up playing the role of a peeping Tom. As we reported yesterday, guards at the Randall Mall Horn store say they were ordered to catch shoplifters by climbing up an area called a perch, directly overlooking the dressing rooms. Often, women guards watch the men undress.
I mean, would you always be watching the women undress?
No.
Sometimes what?
The men.
And male guards watch the women.
If they saw a good-looking girl going in, they would run over your back to go in and watch them, even though the girl only had one bathing suit. Now, she only had one going in the fitting room. Why do you need to climb over there to see?
We visited the Randall store today, but as you might expect, nobody was talking. We were told to call the company president in Pittsburgh. Earlier in the week, we did talk to the chief of security for the Horns chain. He told us he knew nothing about the questionable surveillance tactics.
All I can tell you that that's not an accepted practice. That is not in any instruction.
But employees tell us it was part of their training.
It was the supervisor's idea to show me. He showed me where every tower was in the store.
They told you you had a certain quota to do. And they told you and showed you where all the purchases were, looking into the fitting rooms.
Guards also say they were ordered to doctor police arrest reports to say they used more conventional means of apprehending shoplifters.
That's falsifying a police report, isn't it?
Yes, but if people you're working for are more powerful than you are, you do what they tell you to do.
Ronald Gardner was caught shoplifting at Horns. He says he had no idea he may have been nabbed by a Horns perch watcher.
Well, if I told you that they've got this room up on top of all the dressing rooms where they go upstairs and they watch people change clothes in the dressing rooms.
Well, I didn't have no idea they had something like that.
Today, however, Horns may have gotten the message. Late this afternoon, we learned that the ladders leading up to the surveillance area at the Randall Mall store have now been removed. Carl Monday, Newscenter 8 I-Team.
An Akron man was sentenced to 2 life terms in prison today for murdering a minister and his wife in cold blood. Charles Hamlin withdrew his plea of innocent by reason of insanity and pleaded guilty to 2 counts of aggravated murder. In return, the prosecution dropped its recommendation for the death penalty. Hamlin will have to serve 33 years before he's finally eligible for parole.
Charles Hamlin. Mr. Hamlin, I believe, is 52 years old, and he's pleading for 33 full years. He gets no credit for any good time, any time off. At the very first opportunity for parole, he would have to be 85 years old.
Hamlin said he killed Richard and Tina Griffith after they tormented him with false accusations of raping Tina's younger sister. Hamlin will stand trial next month on 3 counts of rape and 3 counts of gross sexual imposition.
Well, now that all 13 cult members accused in the Kirtland massacre have been captured, there is relief not only here, but in the cities where they were captured.
Dick Russ has been following events in San Diego where the last of the cultists were jailed overnight. Dick.
What police in San Diego said today is exactly what Robin said. Are they happy they got these people out of circulation? Take one look at what they found along with these 5 cult members in San Diego, and you'll know why. The display of powerful weapons seized in California from Jeffrey Lundgren and his followers does seem to bear out the fears of authorities in that part of the country. A .50 caliber sniper rifle, complete with armor-piercing bullets and tracer bullets for nighttime warfare, thousands of rounds of ammunition, and other high-powered weapons.
You can see by the weapons here, the potential for violence was extreme. And the fact that we were able to apprehend these people without any violence, I think is a true credit to those people that worked on the investigation, both our own agents as well as the state and local folks.
The last 2 suspects rounded up in the mountains east of San Diego on Wednesday, Catherine Johnson and Daniel Kraft, apparently decided not to head to Mexico because of their religious beliefs.
I think they were headed for the forest as opposed to Mexico.
Why do you believe that?
I think some of their teachings talk about them returning to the wilderness. And that seems to be where they were going for security and to hide out.
One of the guns found in the Lundgren San Diego motel room is now thought to be possibly the weapon that murdered Dennis and Cheryl Avery and their 3 daughters in the Kirtland barn. That .45 is being analyzed tonight in Lake County. And tomorrow morning in Lake County, the first suspect brought back to Ohio will be arraigned. Sharon Blunchley, who is arrested in Michigan, will be in court on murder and conspiracy charges, a total of 15 counts. As far as the Lundgrens, their fighting extradition could delay their arrival here till April. Same for 2 of the 7 suspects arrested in Kansas City. The other 5 in KC have waived extradition, and we could see them in Lake County this weekend. And as far as who may have confessed and told police information about other cult members, police in Lake County, also in San Diego and Kansas City, are not revealing any of that information yet.
All right, thank you, Dick. As you mentioned, the first of 13 cult members accused of the slayings of the Avery family will appear in Lake County Court tomorrow morning. Sharon Blunchley will be arraigned at 9 a.m. in the courtroom of Judge James Jackson. It's the first step in what will be a lengthy legal process in Lake County to determine the fate of Jeffrey Lundgren and his followers.
Newscenter 8's Wayne Dawson is in the newsroom and says the wheels of justice will not only be time-consuming, but expensive as well. Wayne?
Well, Tim and Robin, the figures are only preliminary ones at
this point, but it's estimated before all is said and done, it will cost Lake County taxpayers between $750,000 and $1 million in legal fees alone. And that's not counting sheriff overtime, security, and transportation expenses that have yet to be determined.
But we may find ourselves having to borrow money to get through the end of the year.
The words of Lake County Commissioner Robert Garner, a grim financial prediction he says his county cannot avoid. We're told the bulk of the legal expenses will come from the hiring of defense attorneys to represent the 13 cult members. 5 of them, including cult leader Jeffrey Lundgren, face the death penalty, and by state statute, that means a requirement of 2 defense attorneys at a cost of between $25,000 and $50,000 each. To give you an idea of what type of dent this is going to put in Lake County's budget, the $1 million figure practically wipes out this year's allocation for the public defenders and the prosecutor's office, and is 1/27th of this county's entire budget for 1990.
At least we are, if there's any advantage to all this, is that we find out now. And because we find out now, we can plug those numbers into the budget for 1990.
Lake County commissioners are counting on the state to pick up half of the tab for defending the cult members, and they're also looking into the possibility of obtaining some federal grants. And Commissioner Gardner has another idea, an attempt to cash in on the publicity surrounding the case.
If there are any books or movies to be made from it, then any of the royalties or profits that would be derived would immediately come back to the taxpayers of this county to help pay for the defense of this case.
Meanwhile, taxpayers of Lake County said this about the expenses they will ultimately have to bear.
I say go for it. I'd pay it.
It's worth it.
To get a conviction, yeah.
It's a lot of money to spend, but they have a right to a fair trial, fair hearing. So there's really nothing you can do about it. I think it's fair.
Those were human beings that were shot down. And it's going to continue if they don't do something about it now.
On another note, the healing process has begun in the town of Kirtland. Newscenter 8's Sandy Lesko is standing by live at Kirtland High School, where a community counseling session to help residents deal with this tragedy is set to begin in less than an hour. Sandy?
Wayne, the trauma of the Kirtland slaughter is really beginning to sink in, especially for the people who live in this close-knit community where neighbor knows neighbor and everyone seems to have a special feeling about their town. Last night's memorial service at the Kirtland Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was the beginning of what this community hopes will be a process of healing and reconciliation for those who may feel guilty that they knew the Averys but could do nothing about the fate that was in store for them. Tonight, many of these same community members will get together at Kirtland High School to express their feelings about the mass murder. The president of the Kirtland Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Dale Luffman, will speak at tonight's meeting, as will the other members of the clergy in the community. Afterwards, members of the Lake County Community Crisis Intervention Team will lead group discussions. Those involved feel this meeting may act as a catalyst, opening up the doors of fear that residents have been grappling with after an incident that has left many people feeling very hollow inside. We'll attend tonight's meeting, and of course, we'll have details for you tonight on Newscenter 8 at 11. Robin and Tim.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. A fight may be brewing tonight at the Cleveland School Board, which is trying to decide who its next president will be. A rift is developing between Stanley Tolliver and Mildred Madison, both of whom want to be president.
Newscenter 8's Christy Steves is standing by live at the administration building with details on tonight's meeting. Christy.
It's already shaping up into a potential battle here at the administration building, where board members are about to go into executive session. That's where they'll begin the process of selecting the new president.
Even though there are some new faces, it appears the Cleveland School Board is facing some of the same problems. A continuing battle with the superintendent and another struggle to choose a board president. Both Stanley Tolliver and Mildred Madison are vying for the position, and neither seem willing to bend. Today, Mayor Mike White withdrew his support of Tolliver as president through a letter because of what he calls broken promises.
Every single commitment that I gained from Mr. Tolliver was broken inside of 72 hours.
Who do you like to see in what position on the board?
I honestly don't know. You know what? I think they've got some tough decision-making to do.
Today, Tutella's lawyer, Avery Friedman, and other lawyers representing the state superintendent and the board are in a meeting, trying to hash out a settlement concerning Tutella's lawsuit against the board. Telich filed a suit November 7th that alleges the board deprived him of his freedom of speech concerning political issues in the fall election. Each side is making demands on the other, but Telich's attorney says they can talk to the blue in the face unless certain demands are met.
In no particular order, the autonomy of the superintendent, the right of free speech of the superintendent, the law department's accountability to the superintendent, and certainly the issue of his continued service to our community.
The lawyers from all sides are prepared to negotiate to the last minute in hopes of reaching a settlement before they meet with Judge Frank Battisti tomorrow morning. In the meantime, it could be a while yet before we know who the new president is, but if we find out during the newscast, we'll be sure to let you know. Otherwise, we'll have a complete update tonight on Newscenter 8 at 11. This is Christy Steves reporting live at the Administration Building downtown.
All right, thank you, Christy. How a lot of people in this area could wind up in the unemployment line with auto workers when car sales slump. That story coming up.
And an impassioned defense is made for the family of a Boston man who killed his pregnant wife and then himself.